Hello again to our listeners. Welcome back to Cali Manila Chronicles, Chismis at Recuerdos, the podcast. In the previous episode, you just heard from Abby or Ina Mendez, who we have been talking to for the last 40 minutes. We learned about her life. We learned about where she's been since we last talked, and so now we're gonna come back. We There is one part in her bio that we didn't get to touch yet, and that is her music. So, Abby, welcome back to the show. Sean and I are so glad to have you back again. We want to hear about this music. How did you get? So we have Ina Mendez on Spotify. Tell us more about this.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah. If you remember when I was also in grade six, together with Pearl, which is a very close friend of you guys as well, we
Yes.
would always sing on
Oh,
stage.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I was really musically inclined before. I was in Center for Pop Music, so I had trainings as well vocally, and I would also play the piano. So right now that I am a professional, I realized that I needed an outlet for me to express something that's my beyond business, beyond corporate. I wanted something that's, purely art, purely my passion, not really
Mm,
revenue generating. Of course, maybe in the future I could generate from it. But yeah, so I started writing songs that came from my heart. First would be about love life, about self exploration, about discovering oneself. So I started producing songs, and then I didn't expect that a lot of people would actually appreciate it. That I got to perform it live in some spoken poetry shows.
Wow.
So yeah, so yeah, that's why I have my own name right now on Spotify.
that's
Wow.
amazing.
Cool. Cool.
How do you produce your music? Do you take inspiration from elements in our childhood, or do you? Yeah, how do you get creative with music?
Aha, okay. Of course, that element of being inspired by your idols would be a big part of it. So I guess since I came from Center for Pop and one of our icons would be Sarah Geronimo, you know
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
the I think the melodies and the the way she does it vocally, I think that's one of my influences when it comes to writing songs. Also, growing up in the 90s, these duet and groups like Spice Girls and M2M, and yeah, those groups, they really influenced me when it comes to doing the beats, etc.
Mhm.
So yeah, um it's nice to see that right now there are also groups from the Philippines that are starting up. But of course, we would like to backtrack to the 90s groups that really, you know, gave us this foundation, or gave me the foundation of being musically inclined or appreciating music in general.
Wow. Speaking of groups that are popping up in the Philippines right now, uh, I was just watching a Netflix show on Cat's Eye, how they built Cat's Eye. Sean,
Uh-huh.
are you familiar with Cat's Eye?
Well, I just got familiar with them because they visited the Philippines.
Mhm.
Yes.
So when they visited the Philippines, that's the time, okay, they are like quite big. And I just searched them, and apparently there's one Filipina that is
Yes.
part of the group. And we are very patriotic when someone represents us on the global
Absolutely.
stage. Uh, so, uh, so it's like everyone is a fan of Cat's Eye. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but the music is good. The dance moves are like very, very, very detailed. In a sense to where it's already can compete with K-pop. For
Hmm.
that to those because I think that's if just my take with these new genre and you compare with dance the the little details that they do, that's the one that keeps the audience intrigued and you look for more.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Look for more.
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
it's uh so I'm just in the first episode watching this with my wife Larissa. I kind of just clicked on it randomly. We were looking for a show, and it's so intriguing because main first it's intriguing because I feel like K-pop has taken over just whatever pop was before, like American pop, I guess. I
Yeah.
feel like
Yes.
K-pop is now the standard of like you want to build the group, you follow the K-pop model. And then realize like the way that the show was showing it. So now for those who don't know what Cat's Eye is, it's a global girl group. Like they started pulling uh, recruiting girls from all over the world. I think like uh, they're obviously there's a few members from the USA, and then there's like members from the Philippines and Brazil too. I think
India.
it's
There's one in India.
India. Yeah.
India. Yeah.
Oh, sorry for spoiling it for anyone who's just watching the show, but but we know who's there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so crazy that it's a international group. They're combining like different personalities, right? And then uh, allowing them to all shine, but also have that uh, showcase who they are individually, which is really crazy. Excited to see more of them come up, and obviously the Philippines, go Philippines.
Yes.
Uh, yes. So, moving away from the cat's eye tangent, Abby. So in your music now, are you still creating new music, or is that on hiatus right now, or when can we expect new music to come out?
Well, yeah, I just wrote a song a few days ago. It's not yet finished, but I'm planning to release it maybe in December, just in
In
time for
December.
Christmas, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. Is
Yeah.
this going
Wow.
to be a Christmas themed soundtrack, or
Well,
not
not
really?
really. Yeah, it's
Is that
related
like
to what I
malamig
feel
ang
right now.
is that malamig ang Pasko? Ganyan. You know, that's for our US viewers, it's like a expression that if you don't have a love life, it's always an expression to say, you have a cold Christmas in English. And for Filipinos, they say, malamig ang Pasko mo, something like that.
Yeah, but
Wow.
it's not around that topic. So, but
Okay.
it's also about my love for something. So yeah, that's a teaser.
These are wow.
Wow.
Okay, sounds good.
But
Wait,
I
yes.
would like to get in touch with because the pop culture, it's always like a circle back. Every time like hip hop comes in, and then some artists will get reintroduced, and I get to appreciate more singer, like one singer like Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
He released song with Lady Gaga, "Die with a Smile." It's
Yeah.
a very very, I would say, 70s 80s song. I
Uh
like
huh.
the
Yes.
vibe. The
Yeah.
vibe of it, and it's like it captures all ages. It's like your song when you go in the bathtub, or go to uh going take a shower, or you're going for a road trip, uh and then suddenly like he shifted to like apathy uh
With Rose.
from
Yeah.
Rose, and the vibe is very very different. It's like having a good time, but it's like a 2000 vibe, pop rock
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
with her. And like it doesn't matter like if it's like they choose that vibe. People will listen to you if they like it. It's just that his voice can really adapt different genre, which is really really cool.
Yeah, he transcends generations and times. That's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
power of Bruno Mars.
Yeah, have you heard some of his covers? Like he sang an Adele song, which he wrote it. I know that he all I ask he wrote it. He
I
also
didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so if you search "All I Ask" by Bruno Mars cover in BBC, like he mentioned, like I, this is the song that I wrote and Adele sang it.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what and when some of like CeeLo Green, uh, the song with CeeLo Green, I believe I remember he wrote it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah.
it's really like that, and uh, that's what amazed me from him. Uh, because he's doing collaboration now, which is not the same as before. Like he's just doing it alone with his band, and now he's doing it like with collaborations. Just I think just to give that interest that he is really good. Which like yeah, I remember you. Yeah, you're top one again on my chart list.
I
But
think
there's all
there was like I saw an Instagram post about like Bruno Mars has only released like 30 songs ever, but 20 of those are in like the top charts or like
Yeah. It's
yeah,
crazy,
amazing,
like hit number
amazing.
one. He only releases bangers.
And
agree.
you know, I think the lyrics, I'm coming aside from like Rose, that's Apate, that's it's different. It's a game. So if you really know the lyrics from it, it's really coming from the game.
Yeah.
But his songs like Die with a Smile, the lyrics, which I most of his songs really make sense, really made sense. It's not just
Mm,
like he singing it. It's just really there's something into it. There's a soul in
So.
that lyrics,
Mm-hmm.
which
yes.
probably that's why it's a bang. And even though it's like a simple songs, what I say with simple songs, which is like very, I'm not a very good music. I don't know how to play songs aside from a bass guitar, which I do know a novice playing bass guitar, but like the Beatles songs. It's how simple the melody is, but it's really catchy. The lyrics is really good,
Mm,
and it's the vibe is like whether it's coming from a heartbreak, their vices, the song lyrics has its own soul. That's why people love the Beatles.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
You mentioned about soul, and I mentioned a while ago that you know, music writing is the part of my life wherein it's purely, outside of my professional life. See, when you really put your heart into it, like music, when you put your heart into whether it's the background music or the vocals or the lyrics itself, people will really resonate to it if they know that it's from the heart, that they could feel something inside it. That, and I
Yeah,
think the term for that perfectly, that Sean perfectly mentioned, is the soul within those creations, within those compositions.
Yes, yes. I
and
think
Arvin,
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you with that. That's the beauty right now on the Filipino songs, the current songs.
Mm,
Uh, that is currently trending, I would say. That those lyrics as well resonates
yes.
with the Filipino, current Filipino families, Filipino singing. That lyrics has its own soul as well. Uh, it's that's why people, even though those rap songs, like that I'm not used to. I just keep on hearing it. Some may be annoyed with but if you read those lyrics, it just makes sense. Why
Yes.
why why there's a portion of number of people here in the Philippines love singing their songs
Yes.
because it
Yes.
resonates with them.
Yes, I think for our viewers who aren't as familiar with Filipino culture, I think what I realize the most with the Filipinos is they are very in their feelings, like in their
Oh,
feelings when
definitely.
they with songs, like they love the uh, very um what do you call it? Uh so the term I'm thinking of is hugot. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
hugot for our viewers or for our viewers and listeners is like this tug, this
Yeah.
pull of where you like pull from your feelings in your feelings basically.
Yeah.
Yung pinaguhugutan ng mga kanta. Like, I guess for you, Abby, where do you get that hugot for your lyrics and your
Yeah.
music?
Of course, yeah, obviously whatever is happening in my life, it inspires me to write the song. So that's the whole one. Whether it's being in love, whether it's heartbreak, whether it's being confused in life. So
Yeah.
those are the hugots. And yeah, since you mentioned hugot, I guess kasi Filipinos, when we're broken, we really feel it. When we're really happy, we really savor the moment. So I agree with Arvin that Filipinos are really, feeling people. Yeah. And
Yes.
that's okay,
Yeah.
like what Shan mentioned.
Feelers, very, very big feelers. That's just not just in their feelings, but feelers. Like,
Feel.
I think they Filipinos love deeply, and unfortunately, they will also get very angry very deeply.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
I
mess with
totally
a
agree with that.
Filipino. Yes, yes, yes. Um, in regards to music, I want to go. Think back at like our childhood. So like 90s inspirations. Who were those artists that give you guys that hugot?
Oh my God. Well, I could start Abby just for but it's I think it's very I'm not probably you guys will not you'll be surprised. Uh in 90s, late 90s, I became a fan of David Pomeranz.
Wow.
Oh, David Lawrence.
I think
Yes.
that's one of the first tapes that my dad had, and like probably because he keeps on playing it. So
Yeah.
like, oh, I was born for you, and they're like, okay, it's gonna be my song for the next 6 months, like that.
The
And
melody.
we even watch his concert
Really? David
Wow.
Lawrence.
during
Recently
elementary
or
days
before?
before before
Oh.
very young. I think that's around grade one or grade two. And like, oh, okay, okay. And then from that time, like, I became a fan.
Wow. Got to believe in magic.
Yeah.
I forgot
Uh-huh.
about these songs. UV Express playlist right here.
Well, it's not part of the CD burn playlist. It's more on a tape. Like you keep on,
The tape. Yeah, yeah.
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 Wow. David Pomeranz. How about you, Abby? Who's your
Um, yeah. Not really childhood, but growing up, I'm
Mhm.
sure you would agree with this. But we all resonate to emo songs like Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, My Chemical Romance. So those kinds of
Yes.
songs, I think it also influenced why I'm such a feeler because
Hmm.
this emo era just tuck into our hearts.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. I think for me it was I'm gonna call them out again. Linkin Park. Uh, Linkin Park was a very big band for me. I think because I was a very angry kid growing up. Like I don't show it, but like
We didn't know that. It's not really.
yeah, I just get like I had pent up rage, and Linkin Park was that band that allows me to rage through song and then just sing it out, right? Like you same with that like passion of like um so much like anger built up or just like feelings built up and then he sings it out by it's like a screamo, but you could
Yeah,
also feel uh the lyrics that he sings are like Chester's lyrics resonate so well, and then his the way he sings too, it gets very melodic, so he's like a great singer, screamo, and writer too. But shout out to them, they're releasing their new album tonight. So
Oh,
I'm looking
nice.
forward to that. Yes.
oh,
Yeah. first album since Chester passed away. I know we talked about it in one of the first episodes. Still love them. Yeah, big fan. The Linkin
Yeah,
Park for me.
yeah,
Wow.
icons.
Yes, yes, yes. How about in the world of like movies and TV shows? What? Oh, is that what happened? Is there a brownout,
No,
blackout?
no, no. I think it just ran out of battery, but it's okay. I can.
Sounds
That's
good.
part of the
Sounds good.
podcast as well. Yeah.
Yes. Let's go to TV shows and movies. What movies and TV shows uh do you guys like remember from your childhood? It's like, oh man, that was a formative uh TV show or movie for me.
Informative.
I'll start off because I had one that like when I wrote this note, I was like, I gotta call it out. So I'm in the food industry now for work, and it's because of Cooking Master Boy. Do you
Oh,
guys remember
yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah, yeah. Wow.
So
You still
yeah,
remember
Cooking
that?
Master Boy. It was playing on GMA. So it's for our listeners and viewers, it's an anime um called Chuka Ichiban in Japanese, but it's a manga inspired anime about this kid who apparently in this time of China there is like the great like food wars or like dynasty wars, and it's fought through like cooking, through cuisines. And I remember one of the scenes there is about cooking mapo tofu, and how he conjures nostalgia for the emperor because he made the best mapo tofu that reminded him of his childhood. And that was it. That was just like I think in growing up I've always that's the way I wanted to cook. I wanted to cook from the heart and the soul where it touches people, where and in their hearts, like I want them to be reminded of a memory that they had growing up, whether it's
Mhm.
like when I make food now, it's always I make food that people resonate with, so that
Mhm.
it's not food that I want to cook, it's food that gets people excited about something in their childhood. So yeah, what is that movie or TV show for you guys?
My God.
If there
Okay,
is
That's
I'm
one.
gonna go first.
yeah, go
So
ahead.
for me, yeah, for me it was Slam Dunk. Yeah. So yeah, for those who don't know, Slam Dunk is a basketball themed anime as well, which was also shown in GMA. So thank you GMA for being part of our childhood.
Childhood.
So
Yeah.
yeah. What I like about Slam Dunk is Sakuragi, or the protagonist, is an unconventional protagonist. He is imperfect. It's a lot of imperfections, but he has this charm of pulling in people. How how his passion or how his journey towards being a great basketball player came about. So I think it also influenced me when I watched rewatched it again in last year, that it's okay if you start imperfect, or if it's okay to start somewhere. It's the
Mm,
journey, and that of where you want to go is what's important until you reach that goal. So Slam Dunk was a big part of my childhood until now.
wow.
Wow.
Beautiful.
You guys told anime, so I have to
It doesn't have to
definitely
be anime.
Yeah, it
no,
doesn't have
no,
to
I
be
have to be
anime.
consistent. I have to be
Batibot
consistent. Uh
or Siniskwela.
I would
Yeah.
say at that time, because I have the luxury to watch different because my father works at a certain government agency
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
that everyone knows, probably that's the optical media board.
Mm.
So um, there's lots of video CD. So
Yeah.
uh, so I have a set there of Dragon Ball Z and
mm.
Pokemon. So both Probably it's like it's just striving for perfection because they want to win. Like there's the journey, like Ash and Goku. I get the volume where he started from like a really baby Goku, and then coming from I thought it's gonna end, but it's not. It's gonna go for lots of Super Saiyan. But it's when they finish an arc, it's always like he accomplished something. That
Mm-hmm.
the one that makes me when he he when Gohan, for everyone that's Dragon Ball Z fan, when Son Gohan was born, it's like it changes his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wanted to be the father for, but it doesn't happen because he was killed, right? You go to another dimension. So to cut the story short, for that for both is it's like multiple arcs and multiple storylines, but always they're gonna win at the end. But
Mm-hmm.
what it triggers from looking back now is how the writers make it more having these struggles, having these challenges coming from them,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and win at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. It is true. Like the show is about him just fighting against stronger and stronger people. No matter how strong he is, there's someone stronger, but he does it with he overcomes it with his
The
it's
only one
always
that he
like
lost,
teammates,
right?
right?
Do you
Which
remember
one?
this? The only one that he lost and surrendered is with Cell.
Oh, yes.
Cell, and that's the story because he knows that his son can beat Cell for some reason.
Wow.
But
Wow.
but yeah, that's what I have just to be. But just to add before, because I know you've been talking about TV shows, uh, and Netflix is a very game changer because of having these series that before you cannot really locate it unless you have a cable, unless if you have a
Mm.
if you have a selection of DVDs. But I think one of my favorite, it may be like weird for some people, but I really like the crime stories. I just don't know why. I love CSI season one from
Mhm.
until Lawrence Fishburne. Like I'm gonna go do Matrix first and then come back as CSI again. Uh, and Law and Order.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's different how I'm always intrigued by that time because they're using different kinds of methods on how to solve problems. And my dad is in the law enforcement, so like related to the law enforcement. So how they solve these problems and how law can be a weapon for the good and for the bad people.
Mm. I see.
It's it's not that my dad is like just sit beside me and just watch it because some are very gruesome, which
Yeah.
probably make me more strengthen my uh intake in terms of crime scenes.
Mhm.
Not that I want to be that on that another side, but it's just looking on that perspective where how complex it is. It's still solvable. So you just
Mhm.
need some certain factors. So that's how cool for me to watch those uh series up to this time. Up to this time, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm still a fan of watching these type of series.
Yes. I mean, it's crazy. I think we had those very early on, right? Like CSI when growing up and then seeing all the like we
Yeah,
had the advent of like the crime junkie
yeah.
uh series and for us I think it just felt normal. Like I almost feel desensitized to hearing stories like that because we saw so much like uh Bones, House MD, all of those shows, right?
Well, I think from these like CSI, Law and Order, those are really old, like coming from the 90s to this
Yeah.
time. If you rewatch coming from that time to this time, You can see how the story and the environment evolves, and even the
Mm,
landscape of health.
Mm.
yes.
Like,
Yes.
the perspective of women, the women rights, the mental health from the
Mm-hmm.
90s, where they don't believe in mental health.
Yeah.
It's like just a study, and now, like, it's part of the discussion of the detectives,
Mm-hmm.
police, in terms of how they want and how they can take care of, in terms of related to mental health. So it's
Mhm.
like, it's different in technology as well, coming from like very manual, and then now they have different kinds of to solve it. And it's really good to have this kind of storylines, because it adapts,
To the
it gives you
times. Yeah.
to the times and a different perspective, and how life go from it, and yeah, so it's really cool to see that, in sense, because it's give you, but different people different take on these type of shows.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do agree with you, because not everyone have the same thinking of what I like about the story and how I learn from these stories. They some really cannot separate fiction to facts.
Yeah.
They want to, like, oh, it's the same, it's the same. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I wanted to, as we wrap up this episode, I wanted to think about what do you guys miss most from those days when, like the childhood shows that we had. Uh, for me, I miss Saturday cartoons. I
Is
miss
that the
Mhm.
waking
Power
up on
Rangers?
yeah, I think yeah, Power Rangers and is it Toonami is like early in the morning, right? Like
Yeah,
yung anime very early in the morning on Saturdays, like
Saturday
waking up
morning.
and then yeah, like
Yeah.
I miss those days where it's scheduled. Like I know that I'm gonna like my Saturday is this. I can't miss this. I
Yeah.
don't know if like the way that media is now, you can just watch the shows that you want at whatever time. So
On demand. Yeah.
yeah. What do you guys miss from our childhood?
Well, it's sad that both I'm not sure, but Cartoon Network and both Disney Channel are out.
Mm,
So yeah, but it's really a big part of our childhood, like Dexter's Lab, Lizzie McGuire, Powerpuff Girls, and those kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, I will never forget those days. Like I know that if I have a family in the future, I'm gonna tell them about it.
yes,
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
I would say the simpleness of life before.
Mm,
Like, I believe children right now have YouTube, have Facebook. Uh, Even though they don't have accounts, to try to look for it.
Mm-mm.
Uh, the content is so much that I know that time when I go back at home, I'll just ask, "Oh, mom, can you help me? Like, can I have pancit canton?" I'll just continue the next episode of, like, the next episode of the VCD for Dragon Ball or Pokemon, or Hunter
Oh,
x Hunter. It's very simple. Like, and then I get to study, and then I go home, and then I go sleep.
yeah,
It's
yes.
something like that, which I think before, when I see children, it's different.
Mm,
It's different. It's like, watch, watch until, like, screen, like, it's all screen, even
yeah,
though it's, yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
sad in sense, but well,
I
different.
think I think what I've noticed is that there is so much content now, not just on like streaming, but on social media as well, that there's uh noticing the kids mature so much quicker. Like
Mm-hmm.
all the
Definitely.
content that they're consuming is so crazy. Like I think for us, um, going back to Saturday cartoons again, like you miss it, you miss the show and that's it. Like you missed
Yeah.
out for the week. But
Yeah.
there's a communal element to it. There's a community element of like, oh, my friends and I know what's happening in this. episode because we all just saw it on that day.
Yeah.
Like you're not
Yeah.
missing out on anything else. That's it. You miss it. Uh, Sucks, but if you watch it, that's the only thing that you
Yeah.
all saw. There's
That's it.
nothing else that there's this element of FOMO that happens so much now, like the fear of missing out because there's always something else to miss out on. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that feeling will ever go away. Um,
Yeah.
so it's interesting. It's something for us and for hopefully our kids to, or for us to take note when our kids are growing up. Um, and yeah, definitely miss those times. For our listeners, I'd like to invite them to think about those moments as well, right? I'm like, what are those moments in your childhood that like, wow, that was a really great time and that you want to hold on to? Obviously, times are gonna change. Like we're never gonna get rid of social media and all the changes that are happening. But how do we embrace some of them, the fun and like the great parts of our childhood and bring it back.
Yeah.
Um,
The simpleness through it.
yeah,
How simple it is before. I think it's still possible. It's like in how we can. I know it's really difficult, but I think it's still possible.
absolutely. Well, I'm gonna start wrapping it up there. I think we had a great conversation. Abby, thank you so much for joining
Thank you
us in
so
this
much.
episode. Uh, Such a nice time to be able to catch up with you again, reunite with you after all these years. Uh, to uh, to look back at the childhood that we've had and for our listeners to also hear about your journey and how you navigate through so many different moments but also I hope they get inspired by all the things that you're doing that despite the busyness of things you're able to make sure that you're grounded that you're making thoughtful decisions uh, that give back to all the causes that you care about so
Mhm.
that's so beautiful to hear. Excited to hear what else uh, you do in the future. Um, good. I want to give the space to you. How do we and
The
our
viewers.
guests and
Yeah.
our listeners and viewers keep up with you? Do you have social media or website or LinkedIn? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Consistently, my handles on social media is at Ina Mendez. So that's YNAMENDEZ. All my content is more streamlined on my website, inamendez.com. But professionally, well, my real name, Abby Laine Mendez on LinkedIn. So yeah, just please do follow me on my social media accounts and subscribe to my newsletter on my website. And follow me on Spotify.
Yes, yes. We're
Definitely.
excited to hear that the new song that's gonna come out later this month or in December. Uh
Yes. And thank you
yes,
for this platform, by the way. Thank you. We really appreciate you guys starting and initiating this podcast. It's a nice concept that you're connecting with childhood people, and that you are trying to connect, your life in America and your life in here in Manila. This platform is giving us the opportunity to share our causes and our philosophies in life. So thank you very much.
absolutely.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure. Yeah. Well, to our viewers, I want to say uh please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or
Yes.
share the podcast.
Yes, please.
I forgot to call out. We are now on YouTube. So if you guys have just been tuning to us on Spotify and on audio only, Spotify also has a video version, so you can see us and our faces and how we're reacting to everything. Because it's an extra element of this show. But we're also on YouTube. We're live on YouTube, so all of the shows are on YouTube as well. Please like, subscribe. What else did they say? Hit that, smash that like
What-
button.
we don't have that right now, but you get it. You get it. You get it.
Yeah, yeah.
You
You guys get it. But thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Cali Manila Chronicles. Chismis at Recuerdos, the
The
podcast.
podcast.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.